It is our goal that this forum provides you with a greater understanding of the responsibilities and issues facing members of the District 95 School Board, as well as learn more about the candidates who aspire to the office. The League of Women Voters appreciates the candidates' willingness to participate and inform voters about their candidacy. This election season, the League of Women Voters, in conjunction with the Carbondale Public Library, is hosting 2 candidate forums. The first is this evening, and the second is next Thursday, February 27th, also beginning at 6:30, with candidates running for the Carbondale City Council. All 8 candidates running for the school board are with us tonight. Candidates running for 4-year terms on the board are Catherine Field, Marshall Hunt, Corey Cawthon, Tangela Oliver, Imana McHenry, and Paulette Sherwood. These 6 candidates are running for 6 open seats. Each of these candidates' names will appear on the ballot. Candidates running for a 2-year term on the board are Renata Greer and John Major. Renata Greer's name will appear on the ballot. John Major is a write-in candidate. His name will not appear on the ballot. You will need to fill in the oval and enter his name on the space designated for write-in candidates. There is 1 open seat for the 2-year term. The format for tonight will unfold in 3 parts. In part 1, the candidates will introduce themselves. In their introductions, we have asked candidates to comment on their qualifications to serve the board, to discuss the highlights of their community involvement, and how long they have lived in Carbondale. They will each have 90 seconds for their introduction. In part 2, they will be asked a series of questions. All candidates will be asked to answer the first question. The candidates will then be divided into 2 groups of 4. Each group of 4 will be asked 3 additional questions for a total of 6 different questions. This method will allow the audience to hear candidates' views on a broad range of subjects. 90 seconds are allowed for each response. In part 3, after the question and answer period, each candidate will have the opportunity to tell us more about themselves, bring up an issue not covered, answer a question asked the other group, or respond to comments made by other candidates. Again, they will have 90 seconds for their final comments. Candidates, feel free to ask me to repeat any question. Do you have any questions before we begin? Okay. Part 1 is the introductions. Each candidate will have 90 seconds or 1.5 minutes to introduce themselves. In your introduction, please include your qualifications to be on the school board, the length of time you've lived in Carbondale, and the highlights of your involvement in the community. The introductions will be made alphabetically and will begin with Corey Cawthon.
All right, we ready?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. So, as a lifelong Carbondale resident, dedicated husband and father of 3 District 95 students, and a committed board member currently, I am passionate about ensuring our schools continue to grow and thrive. Over the past term, I've worked alongside fellow board members to make meaningful progress, and I'm eager to keep building on that momentum. With your support, we can continue moving our district forward, working together for stronger schools, empowered students, and a brighter future for all. I'm also, if I could say, very excited to see so much interest in serving in this capacity in our school board. It seems like in times past, it's almost like pulling teeth to get people to come out and want to be a part. So this is very exciting for me, and I'd be honored to earn your vote for reelection. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cawthon. Next is Catherine Field.
Okay, hello. You'll notice I put a little note in the chat there about the available terms. You might want to take notice of that. Hi, I'm Kathy Field. I've lived in Carbondale since 1985. My late husband and I raised our two daughters here. And when they grew up, both of our daughters moved away and then moved back, which, as you can imagine, made me very happy. One of them is a social worker, and she co-founded the Little Resource Center. And my other daughter is a professor of theater at SIU. I have one grandson, and he attends the middle school. He loves it. I'm a past president of PEO Chapter KL, a past president of the Stage Company, a founding board member of the Varsity Center, a former member of the Carbondale Planning Commission, a longtime member of the Peace Coalition, and a coordinator for the Carbondale Racial Justice Coalition. I was elected to the Carbondale Elementary Board in 2017, and I've served 2 terms as the board's president. When I first ran for office, the district was in crisis. Some of you might remember this. The teachers had overwhelmingly voted no confidence in the then superintendent. And
Field,
yes, I'm sorry, what?
your time is up.
Oh, my time's up already. Okay. I want to talk about the turnaround, but I'll wait until it's my turn again.
Okay, thank you. Renata Greer is next.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Renata Greer. I am a current board member. I was appointed to the board in October. I am also a Carbondale native, so I am a product of the Carbondale schools, as was my son. I am in my 19th year at Southern Illinois University Carbondale as a higher education professional. And I also earned all 3 of my degrees here at SIU. I have always had a passion for youth, and so I've spent a good portion of my adult years serving in the community. I've done that through my church organizations. I've done that here at SIU, serving and volunteering alongside of college students and registered student organizations. And I also do that with local organizations. I am a member of the illustrious organization of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated. Even currently, we have 2 programs that operate in the District 95 school districts. We have the CHIP program, which is in Lewis School, our weekend meals program, which is CHIP, and then we have YLI, which is our youth leadership program hosted in the Carbondale Middle School. So I just want to continue the work that I'm already doing.
Thank you. The next candidate is Marshall Hunt.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, thank you all for this wonderful opportunity. Much like Corey said, I'm excited about the interest in working to make 95 a much better school district. This year marks my 26th year in public education, many of those spent in admin in about 3 or 4 different states. Me and my wife have been here for 3 years, and Carbondale already feels like home. Between my 2 years of working in the district and my two children that I have, I've had an opportunity to interact with every school in the district. I currently have a 4th grader and a 1st grader in the district. The value add or my qualifications that I think I present is that I have seen a lot over my 26 years in public education and working with other school districts, other school boards. I think I am able to bring a unique and dynamic, different set of eyes and perspectives to the current board, who have all done a tremendous job helping to move 95 forward. And so I look forward to joining them and working alongside them to make Carbondale schools even greater. Thank you.
Thank you. The next candidate is John Major.
Good evening. I was born in Carbondale in Holden Hospital. I attended Springmore School on Sycamore Street when it was not a senior citizens place. I attended Lincoln Junior High, where the police station is now. I was hired in 1968 as a math teacher at Lincoln Junior High. And as I progressed through the system, I became Dean of Students for, I think, 14 years with Mr. Larry Barnett. And then a year after I retired in 2005, I ran for the school board, and I've been on the school board 16 years. And 2 years ago, I retired from the school board, but I would like to be back on it again.
Thank you, Mr. Major. Imani McHenry is next. Unmute yourself, Ms. McHenry.
Greetings, everyone, and thank you for this opportunity. My name is Imani McHenry, and I'm honored to serve as a current District 95 board member. I'm a wife and a parent of 6. I'm a digital literacy educator and trainer. I'm also a sub at the Carbondale High School. I'm committed to the community advocacy, and my commitment has always been for our students, families. I've lived in Carbondale for approximately 15 years now. And my oldest son, who is an alumni of the district, currently attends Morehouse College in Atlanta. I believe in transparency, engagement, and action. And my proof in that is I try to stay current and frequent in the schools. I listen to the current needs of the teachers and the families. And education to me is the foundation of our children's success. And I'm committed to ensuring that all of our children gain the literacy and the support and resources that they deserve in our district.
Thank you. The next candidate is Tangela Oliver.
Good evening. Thank you for this opportunity. My name is Tangela Oliver, and I am honored to be a candidate for the Carbondale Elementary District 95 Board of Education. I have been a resident of Carbondale currently for 3 years, but I have lived here on 2 other occasions. I'm from Murfreesboro, and I graduated from Murfreesboro High School, and I received all my formal education from John A. Logan and SIU Carbondale. Currently, I work at Menard Correctional Center as an assessment specialist, and I do assessments on inmates, and then I match them up with programming. My experience in education spans for about 15 years. I was a substitute teacher in Jackson and Perry County school districts, as well as I was a full-time Carl Perkins tutor. I've been a full-time EOC aide, and I've been a full-time secretary, but all these were at Murfreesboro High School, and I was assigned to the assistant principal. My community involvement includes being a proud member of Zeta Phi Beta Sorority Incorporated, where I'm a past president. I am the newly elected vice president for the Carbondale branch of the NAACP. I'm also the vice president of the Black Graduate Greek Council, and I'm a member of the Birth to 5 Action Council. I'm a member of the Black Chamber of Commerce, and I'm a member of Women for Change. And I am currently pursuing my PhD in Education Administration at SIU Carbondale. And I thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. And our final candidate is Paulette Sherwood. Ms. Sherwood, you need to unmute.
There I go. Can
There
you
you
hear
go.
me?
Yes.
Yes. Good evening. My name is Paulette Sherwood. I am a native of Carbondale. I was born here. I received all of my education here in the Carbondale area. I started out at Addicks Elementary School and Addicks High School. During that time, there was a lot of community involvement. And so I'm aware of sometimes what we're missing right now that I grew up with. Also, I got my bachelor's and my master's degree in education at SIU. I worked at Brush School under Miss Swindell and Nancy through a federal program. I also worked at junior high school as a counselor, as an intern. I also worked with DeWitt Haynes when at Perry School. And I did leave Carbondale for a while and went to Atlanta, where I helped establish Christian schools, private schools, and worked on the board of those schools. I've always been involved in education in some area. However, when I moved back to Carbondale, my husband and I founded a church here. But even in that, we adopted several schools here, and our involvement with the middle school is adopting and working with the social worker there to provide shoes and coats and things for children who are in need. We did the same thing, of course, at Perry School and put a clothing bank over there. My granddaughter is one of the teachers at not at Lewis School, but over at Thomas School.
Ms. Sherwood, Ms. Sherwood, the time is up.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to the questions. All candidates will answer the first question, and they will be answered in reverse alphabetical order. Starting with Ms. Sherwood, what is the board's primary role and responsibility to District 95?
I believe the boards would be primary to have oversight of the district, to institute and make policy, set standards, help with retention and hiring of staff there would be the primary goal for the board. So it's like oversight even with the superintendent and working in conjunction to see that the school district is working at optimum.
Thank you. Next, Ms. Oliver, would you like me to repeat the question?
No, I haven't. Thank you. The primary role and responsibility of the Board of Education is to provide governance, oversight, and strategic direction for the school district while ensuring that students receive a quality education in a safe, equitable, and well-managed environment. Under the Illinois School Code, the board is responsible for setting educational and policies and goals. They're responsible for supervising and evaluating the superintendent who actually manages the district daily operations. They have fiscal responsibility and budget oversight, so they would approve and oversee the district's budget. They also ensure school safety and student well-being, so they have to make sure that there's policies in place to promote a safe and supportive environment. They engage with the community, and so they are responsible for engaging with parents, students, educators, as well as community members, organizations, etc. Additionally, they have to make sure there's equity and student support services within our schools to make sure that everyone, including those with special education needs, have the support systems that they may need to thrive. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McHenry.
Yes, so the board plays a crucial role in ensuring the district operates effectively and equitably for the students, staff, and the community. We're responsible for establishing and upholding policies and procedures according to the state laws and the best practices for that. We oversee district finances and we ensure the responsibility of the budget and the resources are allocated accordingly. We also provide oversight, leadership, and advocacy for the district and guidance to success. But instead of managing the daily needs, we more so just have an input in that. And we allocate different resources within the school district.
Thank you. Mr. Major.
We are responsible for hiring our superintendent and ensuring that our children are treated with dignity and respect. And we have a superintendent that understands that, and I'm very happy with the way things are going.
Mr. Hunt. Mr. Hunt, you need to unmute yourself. Mr. Hunt.
Here we go.
There you go.
Here we go. I think the school board does a number of things that my colleagues have talked about. I think that we provide oversight, especially as it relates to student outcomes. I think we work in support of the superintendent to ensure that he or she has all of the things that they need to manage the daily operations of a school district. I think we work in partnership with the superintendent to develop and implement a strategic plan, and then to outline those key performance indicators that would allow us to go back and measure whether we're moving in the right direction or whether tweaks or changes need to be made. We also help to set policies for the district, again, to ensure the safety and security of everyone involved in our buildings. And we also provide budgetary insight to ensure that our schools are operating and they have the resources that they need. Again, I think in this emerging times, we are probably need to be more dynamic or need to be dynamic as to issues that arise so that we as a board can make those policy changes or initiatives that will allow our schools to continue to move forward and flourish.
Thank you. Dr. Greer. There you go.
Yeah, so the primary roles and responsibility of the board is to set the visions and goals for the district, to oversee the financial budget, review and implement policies and procedures, ensure accountability of the administration, and to support the work of the district. And so that's the overall role.
Thank you. Ms. Field.
Yeah, as board members, we hire and supervise the superintendent. That's the most important thing that we do. We make policy for the district. We make a budget. We levy taxes. In all things, we seek to implement our strategic plan. The strategic plan covers a lot of the areas that people have talked about, including student achievement, inclusive environment, high quality staff and leadership, connections with the community, and equitable use of resources.
Thank you. And finally, Mr. Cawthon.
All right. Well, ain't much left to say. Everybody said everything pretty much. But I mirror all of that. All of those things were amazing, and they're absolutely right. And I agree with every piece of it. And not only that, but I'll add that we have the responsibility to do so. If we're chosen to serve, we are responsible to make sure that we're that guiding force for our schools and establish every policy that needs to be established, overseeing finances, especially in times like these. And I think you know what we're talking about. And maintaining a clear vision for the district. We're responsible to support and hold administration accountable while ensuring safe, equitable, and effective learning environment for all students and staff. Through thoughtful leadership and collaboration, we strive to foster a school community where every child can thrive. And I honestly believe that is our responsibility to do so. That's, to some people, that's a scary word, but we serve responsibly, and we put that on our shoulders. And I think the current board, we do a great job of that. And I'm looking forward, hopefully, if I'm elected, to continue being responsible for those things.
Thank you. Now, for the next set of questions, we're going to divide our candidates into two groups. I don't think they're going to move around on your screen or anything, and you don't have to memorize who's in whose groups. I'll keep track of that. The division is made alphabetically. Group 1 includes Corey Cawthon, Catherine Field, Renata Greer, and Marshall Hunt. Group 2 includes John Major, Imani McHenry, Tangela Oliver, and Paulette Sherwood. The following question will be asked to all members of Group 1. Retention of teachers and staff can be a challenge. What do you think would be effective measures to improve retention in the district? And we'll begin with Mr. Cawthon.
Thank you. I'm a strong believer in good morale, and also strong support. I think our last 5 or 6 administration hires, I believe, have been in-house. That's huge to me. That helps when it comes to retention because we're showing, teachers that we believe in you, we believe in your ability, and then we not only do that, but we create instruction and ways for them to grow in those roles so that we're able to hire from within. That's amazing. People want to be a part of something that is growing, a part of something where they feel respected, they feel appreciated, and I think we do a great job of that at District 95. And that's what I really believe. I think good morale and strong support, it helps defeat bad retention.
Thank you. Ms. Field.
Okay, first of all, teacher retention. Our current rate of teacher retention in District 95 is 91%. This is higher than the state average. This is higher than Carterville, it's higher than Unity Point, it's higher than Marion. Not great amounts of higher, but we're on par with everybody else. We're not having trouble hiring and keeping teachers. Additionally, what you have to recognize is that our average retention is much higher than national average for workers in other professional fields. Nationally, that's about 80%. So, on average, our teachers have 15 years of experience. What they want, as Corey said, they want to be part of something good. And we think at District 95 they are. They want to be fairly compensated, and they want to be appreciated for the work that they do. And I want that for them as well. I have sat on every contract negotiation since 2017. With each successive negotiation, I have seen the trust and respect between the teachers, the staff, and the board deepen and grow. And I would like to continue that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Greer.
Yeah, so this is a really important question because retention of teachers equates to the stability of the school district. And so consistency is important to build healthy relationships with our students and families as well. So I'll look at it, I'll give you a perspective of what we're doing and then what we can continue to do within the district. So as a district, we can operate effectively and efficiently to ensure a supportive environment for staff, personnel, and administration. So that goes back to what Kathy and Corey talked about as a positive environment, good morale. We can provide opportunities for professional growth and promotion, ensuring that there is a career ladder or a succession plan for staff to promote into leadership roles. And when there's a lack of, because generally when there's a lack of opportunity, that's when people begin to look outside of an organization. So I think that's something that the district is doing very well now, just considering the teachers, the years of experience already within the district, and looking at how we can provide professional growth and also more leadership opportunities for the teachers within the district. The third and final thing I'll say is creating pipelines with SIU Carbondale.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Thank you for this question. As a former principal in very larger districts where teachers had an option of going to 20 or 30, sometimes 40 other schools because the district was so large, teacher retention was something that I had to keep my eye on. And I'm going to piggyback because I think Corey was reading my notes. I think morale and acknowledgement are key. Teachers have to have a high sense of morale in the building, and teachers have to feel appreciated. They have to be acknowledged for the hard work that they are doing. And as a board, as a district, we have to often find, or we have to find those opportunities to celebrate our teachers. Again, I think because the teacher shortage is a real thing. Catherine mentioned a stat of 91%. I think that is to be applauded because that is not the case in a lot of different areas that she mentioned. But to Renata's point, I think creating pipelines is a strong way to continue to have high retention. I think what Corey mentioned about being able to hire in-house does send a message to teachers that if you stay here, there's upward mobility as well. And so I think that the district definitely is moving in the right direction in terms of retention and how to keep those teachers here. And finally, our kids need to see consistency. They need to see those teachers coming year after year. And so I think that the current board and superintendent should be applauded for that.
Thank you. The next question will be asked to all members of Group 2. It's a multi-part question. What do you see as the most pressing challenges facing District 95, and how would you address them? Whom would you consult to advise and inform your actions? And we're going to begin with Mr. Major. Mr. Major, you need to unmute yourself. Unmute yourself. There, no. There you go.
Okay. Better ask me the question again now.
Certainly, certainly. What do you see as the most pressing challenges facing District 95, and how would you address them? Whom would you consult to advise and inform your actions?
Well, that's easy. We hire a superintendent. She does a tremendous job in letting us know what is coming up, grants that they've received, different things like that. And I put my trust in the superintendent to let us know what's going on and what we need to do. That's why we hire.
Thank you. Ms. McHenry. Unmute yourself. There you go.
I agree with Mr. Major because that's our first responsibility in hiring a superintendent and trusting in her. But I think as we collaborate and work together, we see that our biggest vulnerability at this moment would be funding, the threat of financial funding. And then we also have increase in student growth. With those vulnerabilities, I believe that to continue to advocate along with my fellow board members would be my number one priority for our students and for our teachers. And that is something that I plan to continue to do. And exploring options in which I believe the Illinois State Board of Education does a good job in assisting us with other avenues of funding. And just overall strengthening our interventions and literacy when it comes to our education, and just consulting each other and outside resources in which we can all come together and collaborate.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Sherwood.
I kind of feel like I'm the new kid on the block with this. Most of you have had probably more interaction as board members. However, having a granddaughter who works in the school system, we have talked, and of course I've talked with some of the social workers before. I think collaboration is extremely important. I think there are some behavioral issues that need to be dealt with in the schools, and that's not peculiar to District 95, but overall you hear a lot of that, dealing with that effectively, listening to the teachers who should be able to give us input as what they see as the major challenges. That's one thing I would do, since they're the experts, they're in the classrooms. and also working with the superintendent who the teachers are probably talking to. So I think communication between the board and those who are actually there in the schools, increased communication would be important to engage and begin to look at areas where they see as issues and not where we just see them as issues. And I think from what I hear, the board has been doing a great job at that. But I'm hesitant to give information when I don't have all of what I need to be able to do that. So that would be my input right now.
Thank you. The next question is going to be asked to all members of Group 1. We live in stressful times. Pandemics, social media, family economics impact many students, their behavior, and those who teach them. What suggestions do you have to ensure school safety while at the same time addressing the mental health of both students and staff? And we're going to begin with Ms. Field.
Okay. You do list some stressful things: pandemics, social media, family economics. To ensure school safety, when we had the pandemic, what we did to ensure safety was we followed the advice of public health authorities. If we have another pandemic, we should do the same. That keeps us safe as we can be. With regard to mental health and cell phones, it's a little harder to make a connection, except that the governor has recently proposed legislation to eliminate cell phones from the classroom. The idea being that the kids' mental health is not going to be improved by their not following the lesson or by their being triggered by somebody's social media posting. So this is a good thing. We thank Governor Pritzker for that. But the most important part of the question, to my way of thinking, is support for mental health for both students and staff. For students, it's fairly simple, but it's not easy. To help a kid, you have to help their family. And we hope to do this with the community schools grant that we've been given. You've got information about that.
And I'm sorry, but your time is up.
Again, thank you.
Again. Dr. Greer.
Yeah, just a few points on school safety and all the things that can occur in the schools. We have school social workers within the buildings for support of our students and families. We continue to monitor the environment and work to encourage a supportive, positive culture within all the buildings. The district has also set behavioral goals, which focus on responsibility, problem solving, respect, self-sufficiency for the students in the schools, and that provides positive incentives when goals are met. I would say listening to the voices of teachers and understanding their issues, their concerns, and also to support them and address those concerns. Continue to identify resources to meet the district's needs. So Kathy alluded to the community schools grant, which we hope will expand our ability to offer resources to families, students, and our staff within the schools to alleviate some of the stress and burdens that they encounter.
Thank you. I just I made a mistake earlier, and I omitted a question to Miss Oliver. So if you don't mind, I'd like to go back. I'm going to repeat that question. And that question is, what do you see as the most pressing challenges facing District 95, and how would you address them? Whom would you consult to advise and inform your actions? Ms. Oliver.
Thank you. One of the pressing challenges I do see is that, and I will say Carbondale is much better than Murfreesboro, but that is the hiring of minority teachers. And I think that's a problem across the board. And I think what we need to do is we need to collaborate with, I know Ms. Grives earlier was talking about the pipeline from SIU. We need to be able to collaborate with them. If people are in teacher programs or programs that could fill any of the staff positions, we need to make sure that we are in collaboration with them so that we could try to get those people who may want to stay here now in a small community instead of going back up north to teach. We also need to be in collaboration with other colleges and institutions because we have several around this area from Cape to Harrisburg, and we just need to focus on those to try to see if we can get some minority positions down here in this area, as well as, of course, the concern should be taken to our superintendent. And then so we could also elaborate with her about what she feel about that. And then we should also be able to take it to the board and see if we can create a plan of action so that we can start getting minority teachers and staff in our district. And we can do that by collaborating with parents and community leaders, businesses, anyone who can refer someone to the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And again, my apologies for missing you on that question. We're going to go back to the question that I already asked Ms. Field and Dr. Greer. Let me repeat it for Mr. Hunt and Mr. Cawthon. We live in stressful times. Pandemics, social media, and family economics impact many students, their behavior, and those who teach them. What suggestions do you have to ensure school safety while at the same time addressing the mental health of both students and staff? Mr. Hunt.
Thank you. I think that's an important question. When I think about school safety, what comes to mind are the processes and procedures and making sure that they are tight and right so that when things do occur, that there's a plan of action, that all of the key personnel in the school know what to do and when to do it and how to do it. When we think about social emotional learning, we often think about students, but I'm going to take a spin and think about the teachers, because I think that they are under a lot of stress. They do all of the heavy lifting in the school. I've always said that. And so we need to think about how we can support them and their mental health as they are dealing with students who have mental health challenges, sometimes undiagnosed mental health challenges. And so I think Ms. Greer, Dr. Greer talked about the partnership with the community grant, expanding those community partnerships and collaborations, and so that we can provide real wraparound services for our students, so that, again, when they walk into the building, they have everything that they need. Again, I think when schools were designed 100 years ago, they weren't designed, but now we have to be that place where we can adapt and we can address everything, the whole child. And so again, I think that District 95 they do have a lot of positive things in place to address students and staff and safety procedures within the school. And I think that they can probably be tweaked, but I think that they're definitely moving in the right direction.
Thank you. Mr. Cawthon.
Thank you. Definitely agree with everything Mr. Hunt said, and also everyone else who commented or answered this question. It's very important. Mental health is real. And, growing up, my experience growing up in a Black family, churchgoer, I am a Christian. I love church. You're kind of told to just suck it up and keep moving. Mental health is something that is you get pushed through. It's not something where you can get the sit down and unpack issues and different things that you're going through. In agreement with what everyone has said, I want to highlight our community schools grant, $5 million for 5 years to enhance support for students and families through resources like food, housing, healthcare, different things like that, helping parents find jobs. I've worked in District 95 as an aide for quite a while. And you would be surprised how many students come to school tired because they've been cooking for their siblings and they don't have time to get their homework done. That weighs on them heavy. And I think different resources like that will come through the community schools grant program are paramount to the success of our district. So that's it.
Thank you. The next question will be asked to all members of Group 2. As an individual school board member, what will you personally do to support the teachers and students? Please be specific. And we're going to begin with Ms. McHenry.
Thank you. As a current active school board member, I'm very active and very present within the schools. I make it a priority to go to the schools, to be an active listener when it comes to the teachers, to find out what are the barriers within the school system, what are the barriers in the classroom. And then I build relationships with the kids, during lunchtime, during outside recess, and just talking to them and giving them a safe space to talk while also getting their experience on what changes they would like to see within the school. So it's not just the board making the decisions, but we have an equal balance of from the teachers and from the students. I stay engaged by attending community events. Like right now, I'm missing the semi-quarterfinals for our boys basketball game, but my dedication is both places and they know my heart is there. I try to be transparent when talking and being engaged with our parents, and just showing authenticity. And that lets them know that my desire to support them is real. And I'll continue to work hard to support our student achievements, our teacher empowerment, and our community collaboration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, they go to shorts.
Ms. Oliver.
Yes. So to be specific, I will advocate for both teachers and students by engaging with educators. I will also like to be available to meet with some of the teachers to see what their concerns are and what their needs are. I will encourage professional development. I think right now all teachers and staff need to be efficient with AI, so that it not only does it help you with your instructional strategies and curriculum development, but it could decrease your planning time for your classroom like in half. So I will be an advocate on professional development, encouraging parent and student community involvement. I'm involved in several different organizations, and I would like to see parents through the PTO get involved with what's going on in our community, because we do have a lot of things that go on. And also, I would like to strengthen student resources by promoting a creative educational tools that will help them improve achievement scores as well as their academic success. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sherwood.
I've lost my voice.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I've been coughing really bad, but I am a certified counselor, and I would always make myself available to assist social workers or teachers or be in the classroom. I work with reading programs. I'd like to show up with the teachers who need assistance in that and work as a liaison between parents and parents and teachers, because I think it's important that they know who the school board people are, that we're there. They know us by name, and feeling that support. When the teachers feel supported, it also helps them with the children. I know that the numbers from teachers to children can be a little skewed right now, and so people in the classroom assisting, I think that's going to be a great thing, and I'm always willing to do that because I love working with young people.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Mr. Major. Mr. Major, you need to unmute yourself. There you go.
The first time that I became a board member, I knew a lot of the teachers, and I visited the schools very often, and they appreciated that. At first, they would say, "This is the first time a board member's come to the school to talk to us." And it was easy to do because I knew a lot of them anyway. But I spent a lot of time doing that. And if they had a valid question, I'd find out about it and get back to them, just as I did when I was Dean of Students.
Thank you.
Mhm.
The next question will be asked to all members of Group 1. The district faces periodic changes to funding sources, and the board may be required to make budgetary adjustments. If forced to make cuts, A, what programs or areas do you think could be cut back? And B, what programs do you think should be untouchable? And we're going to begin with Dr. Greer.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
Certainly. The district faces periodic changes to funding sources, and the board may be required to make budgetary adjustments. If forced to make cuts, A, what programs or areas do you think could be cut back? And B, what programs do you think should be untouchable?
Well, I think what I've learned about the board in a short period of time is how they work proactively to balance the budget, and how they use creative resources or creative skills to continue to bring resources into the district. And so just in a short period of time, I've learned about how they pursue those external dollars for the community grants. I learned about other steps that they've taken to increase savings to the district. They also have a proactive approach to look down the road and see the things coming, opposed to being reactive. And so they look at how the school district is growing, the numbers are growing. What would they need for space in order to accommodate that growth? They look at teachers coming into the district, or development or retention of teachers. So they take a very proactive approach, and really use those resources wisely. And so, I think if they did have to make a cut or consider a program, it would also be something that didn't heavily impact families, students, or the staff and personnel.
Thank you. Mr. Hunt.
Yeah, I'm going to pick right up where Dr. Greer left off. I think it would be short-sighted for me to try to cherry pick programs that need to be cut or saved. What I will say is that I'm glad to hear that the district does all of those things, and if forced into a position where you have to make cuts, I think that those cuts should be as far removed from the classroom as possible, so that they don't impact teachers and students. I do think that sometimes that's very hard to do because a very large majority, anywhere between 85 to 90% of a school's district's budget is in personnel. But again, I think that would need to be a very collaborative conversation with the superintendent, probably with teacher leaders or union leaders, to kind of sit down and talk about and be very transparent about the state of the district. But I would think that, again, as Dr. Greer mentioned, that there would be a level of proactiveness where we're able to kind of forecast different funding levels, different needs of the district, and then be able to shift and be dynamic, so that we would not have to cut essential programs and services that are so critically needed by our students and staff.
Thank you. Mr. Cawthon.
Thank you. COVID is a good example of this, where we received a lot of funding, in dealing with COVID and the challenges that it brought. our district, and we were able to use those funds wisely to improve our facilities and transition from deficit spending to actually having a balanced budget. Um, I think our district is extremely data driven. And I love that because we don't make emotional decisions. We don't make decisions based off of not liking somebody or not thinking the program is so great. What we tend to do is we look at the data, and if cuts become necessary, they'll be based on data that shows which programs are less effective, ensuring we only adjust areas with lower impact. Um, I really think that even in doing that, we have to make sure that some things are untouchable. For example, after school programming and different things like that, that's so vital for our community and the parents of our children. I think we would have to look at the data, properly assess, see what could be moved around, and then move accordingly.
Thank you. And Ms. Field. Ms. Field.
I had to unmute. I have to agree with those who said that our spending is data-driven, and that we've been through some tough times, and we've also been through some times where the money was coming in. Mention was made of COVID. We use money carefully. We have in the past, and I expect we will have to in the future. Programs that could be cut back, we did a lot of cutting. Some of it was data-driven, some of it was money-driven. We have the capacity to increase class size, but nobody wants to see that happen. We have the capacity to render some programs untouchable by increasing the extent to which they rely on volunteers. Again, nobody wants to see a program that just relies on whoever happens to walk through the door. So what should be untouchable? Feeding the children, seeing to it that they have clothes to wear, homes to live in, and that they are given the best available education we can give them.
Thank you. This is the last question, and it will be asked to all members of Group 2. In what types of programs or initiatives do you think the board can effectively partner with the PTO to improve the district? And we're going to begin with Ms. Oliver.
Thank you. So the PTO is a vital partner in enhancing student success. And I believe that we need to build strong partnerships that benefit students, teachers, and families. So some of the ideas that I have, the board can collaborate with the PTO on initiatives like working with the Birth to 5 Action and Family Council, because they have been tasked with ensuring that all children and families have access to early childhood services that they need. And one factor that I do know is Jackson County has more early childhood needs as far as daycares, Head Start, than any other county surrounding us. So that is a major issue. So we need to focus on that. Family engagement programs. One particular area I would like is to have like some informational sessions where we can educate the parents on their rights and responsibilities as a parent in relation to IEPs and 504B plans. And this is personal to me because I had to personally fight for my son to get one when he was in the 5th grade. And it turned out that he had autism and he had ADHD. So we need to be educating our parents so the PTO can collaborate and do these informational sessions. And that can just be one of the topics. There can be many series for the parents. And then also we have recently collaborated all the D9, the fraternities and sororities, with the Boys and Girls Club so that we can start focusing on the needs of our children in our community. So the PTO needs to get on board with that as well so we can start doing what's needed in our community for our children. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Sherwood. Ms. Sherwood? She doesn't seem to be here. Let's move on to Mr. Major, and we'll come back to Ms. Sherwood if she reappears. Can you unmute?
Can you ask
There you
that
go.
question again?
Certainly, certainly. In what types of programs or initiatives do you think the board can effectively partner with the PTO to improve the district?
Well, it's important to work with the PTO and to continue whatever work they've done so far. I'm not really familiar with the PTO acronym now, and is that parent teacher organization?
Yes.
It wasn't that the last time, so I don't know. I think it's an important organization, and a lot of times through understanding, a lot of the people that are involved in that become interested in the board members, and they have their own ideas that they bring to the board. So I think it's a good thing.
Thank you. Let me try Ms. Sherwood again. Ms. Sherwood? Okay. We'll go on to Ms. McHenry.
Yes, as a current parent that is also a part of the PTO and a liaison for the board and the PTO, I think that we already have that collaboration. We've started that to improve the district. So even through the fall festivals, we've collaborated with the Popcorn Fridays and different initiatives to curb some of our behavior issues within the school. I think by engaging families and student learning together is both our mission, and through that we can support our teachers. So just having that family and community engagement um, would is the number one thing that we can work with.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Sherwood, I think is still not with us. We're going to move on to part 3, and that's the concluding remarks. Please take the remaining time to tell us more about your qualifications, respond to an opponent's comments, or tell us anything else you would like to mention. For this portion, the response time is also 1.5 minutes. The order for responses was chosen randomly. We're going to begin with Ms. Oliver.
Thank you. So thank you for this opportunity to speak tonight. I thank the League of Women Voters for putting on this forum. Once again, my name is Tangela Oliver, and I am not just a candidate, but I am a mother, I am an educator, and I'm a community advocate who understands the challenges and concerns from all sides. I'm also committed to working for you, working with you to make District 95 stronger. And in my closing, I believe that every child deserves an advocate, every teacher deserves support, and every parent deserves a voice. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McHenry.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak. As a current District 95 board member, my unwavering commitment is, as I've stated, is advocacy. And our children are number one in my eyes. And we're here to effectively collaborate with our teachers and our staff. And my commitment is to always instill excellence in our children and demand higher knowledge and literacy out of them from District 95. To always continue to show transparency, accountability, and forward thinking. And you all will continue to see my face in the school, outside of the school, always advocating for the teachers and talking to you all. Again, my name is Imani McHenry, and when you see me on the ballot, please vote for me.
Thank you. Mr. Major. You need to unmute. You need to unmute. Can't hear you. Liz, do you have him muted? Can you unmute? Okay, Mr. Major, I'm going to come back to you. I think it's possible that Liz has you muted. Dr. Greer.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to this forum tonight, allowing me an opportunity to speak and share more about myself. In closing, I'll share a quote by Nelson Mandela that says, "Education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world." You know, I speak from a perspective of being an example in Carbondale, being a product of Carbondale. And as a higher education professional, I'm excited about the opportunity to help shape and prepare students for the future. Because I'm in a college setting, I feel like I am the location where our students are going to be in the future. And so just being able to look backwards and provide all of my knowledge and ability that I've gained at this level to prepare them for a college experience or a high school experience really is powerful to me. So I look forward to continuing to serve in District 95 alongside of families, the teachers, the staff, the administration, and I hope I get another opportunity to do that. So when you go out in April, please vote. Thanks.
Thank you. Mr. Major, I'm going to go back to you. And can you unmute yourself? Are you able? You're not able to unmute yourself.
There it is.
There it is. There you go.
Okay. I think I have the experience to be a positive factor on the school board. I have 5 children. I attended most of District 95. I have 5 children who got wonderful educations from District 95. I was board vice president for 8 years, president for 6 years. I was on the negotiating team for 16 years. I think I'm a positive factor on the school board if I'm elected. And I want to reiterate what you have there. Can you see that? That is the ballot.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to again mention what you said, that you have to write my name in and then shade it in right there. And in 16 years, I didn't miss one board meeting. And I'll continue the tradition if I'm on the board this next 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Major.
You're welcome.
Mr. Hunt.
Thank you again for this wonderful opportunity. About a year ago, my daughter came to my wife and I and stated that she wanted to go to Harvard. And that birthed something in me. And I started thinking about like where she goes to school now and providing her with those opportunities that will propel her, give her that foundation that will send her forward so that she can attain that goal of hers. And so part of my want to be a part of 95 is to ensure not only students like her who have high aspirations, but students with any aspirations get the foundation that they need to be successful in moving forward. I am unapologetically passionate about student outcomes. I have always been that way for 25 years. I do not see that changing anytime soon. because I feel that education is the key, especially in the world that we live in now. Kids they must have a solid education to be successful in life. And so I look forward, hopefully, to being a part of the board for 95 and working alongside of these great individuals who I've shared this call with tonight. And so again, on April 1st, I don't have a ballot in front of me, Mr. Major, but my ask, my call to action would be that you find my name and that you would shade it in, and that we move forward together. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Hunt. Ms. Sherwood, are you with us? Mr. Cawthon.
Yes, ma'am. I would like to take the time to thank Ms. Latecki and yourself, Ms. Davis, and Carbondale Public Library for putting on this forum and giving us the avenue to be able to speak about why we choose to serve. This has been an amazing event. I also want to take a second. I got a minute, 10 seconds. I want to take a second and thank the amazing PTO. I was hoping that I got that question about PTO, but President Emily Zerlinden and Vice President Lynn Kidd and their board and support staff, they have been amazing for our district and just a bright, shining star in this past year with all the things that they've been doing. So shout out to them. Also, I will echo what everybody else said. And again, Mr. Major, I don't have my ballot either, and I'm kind of you always a step ahead. So next time we do this, I'm bringing the ballot. I want you to know that. So I want you to vote for me. I do. I want to continue the work that's been going on in the district. And I love the fact that we get to do it together with a group of individuals with different backgrounds, different perspectives, coming together with the openness to help forward our district. That's what the board is about. And I'm excited to continue to work. Thank you.
Thank you. And finally, Ms. Fields.
I promised to tell you a story about the turnaround, and I will. Before I do that, though, I want to say something. Miss Oliver, you're absolutely right about us needing more Black teachers. We do. 10% of our teachers are Black, and at that, we're still far and away the leader in Southern Illinois, but we need more, and your suggestions are well considered. Here's what you need to know about the turnaround. I mentioned the vote of no confidence, a stalemate between the teachers and admin. This happened in 2015 when we took office after the next election, and John Major was there, he knows. My board colleagues and I immediately initiated what we came to call the turnaround. We kickstarted a new administration entirely, a new curriculum, research-based teaching methods, and a back-to-basics approach so that the school's resources went to where they were most needed. We're now beginning to see the results of that turnaround, and we thank everyone who helped and supported us. I would like to see the turnaround completed, and I'm asking to serve another term on the board to help make that happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, all candidates. On behalf of the League of Women Voters of Jackson County, I express appreciation for your participation this evening and your willingness to serve. And thank you to the audience for spending time to become a more informed voter. Be sure to take advantage of early voting, which is actually started today. And if you're not going to vote early, make sure that you vote on April